Remember, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Words of Stephen King. Good morning. Welcome to Cross Street Chapel's Sunday service. I'm grateful for those of you who've come in to our physical chapel, and I'm grateful for those who are listening online. I'm grateful for so many things, for the brilliant skies we've had, even the storm clouds at times that brings us rain. And I hope that whatever it is that has brought you into this space, be it a space for tears and sadness, to wash away the sorrows and the challenges in life, be it a space for joy and laughter, community who can celebrate with you, be it a space of a few words of wisdom that might enliven and enlighten our souls, or possibly simply a space for us to rest with the divine. There are many reasons for us to be coming together. So we celebrate all of those. One of those being hope. We come together in hope of a better tomorrow. A good thing, maybe the best of things. And we continue with our chalice lighting, as is our Unitarian tradition. So take a moment, reflect on that element within yourself, your spirit, that inner spark of divinity, that inner light of conscience, whatever guides you in your life and helps illuminate the purpose of each day. Let us concentrate our minds, hearts, and souls on this act of chalice lighting. As the wick needs a strong body of wax for support, so too may our community be strong and supportive for us as we reach out for holy inspiration. And as the chalice accepts the flame, let us be receptive to the unknown. And as our chalice does not stand alone, but exists within a history of tradition and enjoys the company of so many chalices across the globe, so too in our times of need, may we be reminded of our humanity, which bridges us across age, race, sex, sexual orientation, gender, and creed. We come together as well in this specific community at Cross Street Chapel with the recitation of a covenant, which was developed a few years ago. It will appear on the screen next to me and online. So please do recite with me. As I've said before, for those of you who are in the chapel, what I can't hear, what is inaudible is okay. So if you want to say it under your breath, that's absolutely fine. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renew the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. Amen. Those words of Stephen King about hope, which are still resonating in my mind, we of course are expecting an announcement from the government tomorrow. All of the forecasts, all of the information that is gleaned from the newspapers and other media suggest that there will be an extension possibly of 4 weeks. The committee is going to be discussing this in earnest in the early part of the week, Monday and Tuesday, and sending out a message hopefully on Wednesday about our steps forward. If we have to pause and if we have to wait, just a little bit longer for the safety of our community. And I think it's extremely important for us to remember that we are a community. And as challenging as it's been these past 15 months, it is in that building and connecting as a community, supporting one another, even if we have had both vaccines, even if we, even if we've, perhaps, fit into certain demographics, we are here to support one another. And it would be great, for those of us who are, perhaps personally in a safer position to understand the challenges that others may face as we go forward these next 4 weeks. But for now, we turn to a time of prayer. These are the words of Jess Reynolds, a Sacramento-based writer who's been involved in their local congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Society of Sacramento, since they moved to the West Coast in 2015. Outside of writing, they enjoy choral singing, rock climbing, and swing dancing. You were tender when I was nothing but raw edges, threads spilling out where I met the world. You were the hands tamping down the soil when I felt as rootless as a blown away dandelion puff, minus the wish. You heard that wish, cast into the void with reckless abandon. I wish somebody saw me. I wish I weren't alone. I wish you held me in the arms of the whole universe, and that whole universe was right there where you held me. You could not stuff back the clothes spilling from my overstuffed suitcase heart, could not turn the sky right side up again, but still you saw me, and you kept me, and this made everything true. Amen. And let us join together in quiet singing our first hymn as we sing of Hope and Joy Today by Elizabeth Alexander. I don't normally put too many disclaimers with the hymns, but I do want to specify that I want you to sing of hope while pulling every weed, not sin of hope. So we now have our second reading, and along with speaking of gratitude and being grateful, I am grateful to Robin and Sonia. Our second reading today is a poem written by their daughter, Andrea. I always end up having the soft day. Andrea Waddle, who is a wonderful poet, who sadly was killed for being trans. They say the past is dead and buried, each moment hallowed for a single use only in the structure of the whole. Blink and you miss it. Each dark chapter of the past consigned full-faced to the dustbin of history or filed away till Judgment Day. But so many times in life the shadows of the past do resurrect it, as if from nowhere they rear their head. What's further, if we merely rearranged the tables and the chairs, who will dispute? We'll be reliving ancient affairs over again. How I write off dim memories, well and ill, as picture postcard snaps, their once pulsing life, which did augur of the future, slipped between my fingers in the crumbling sands of time, such that I can no longer distinguish what's real and what's illusion. Yet they say of here and now, 'tis the face of reality's finest hour, even the whole being of the blooming existential flower or wilting lily. Yet 'tis recurrently the case, the present has an emptiness, while I try muster faith that the manna of life past will spin again about the carousel to bring us face to face again. But just as plausible that centrifugal forces will fling my vital sustenance hurtling thither into the bowels of deepest, darkest outer space. Meditations on Time by Andrea Waddle. This is unlikely to have passed most of anyone by, but it is Pride Month. And interestingly enough, the chapel hasn't done a significant amount of things in the past during Pride Month. The reasons are sort of twofold. One is that we try to have a wide variety of resources in the forms of our readings, our various benedictions and parts of the service throughout the course of the year. So we want to make sure that that Pride Month is not just for June. And we're very grateful, I should say, for this day and age when the voices of the marginalized, when those who have been quiet or quieted, forced to be silenced for centuries and more, that we live in an age when those voices can be risen up and found with what I might describe as relative ease. So yes, we feel that we're trying to give honor to these voices throughout the course of the year. The other significance, of course, sort of change for us is that Manchester's Pride March is not in June, but of course in August, at the end of August. And it has become our custom to have a Pride service to coincide with the Pride March. And I should say as well that I'm very excited to say that our place in the Pride March is booked. So we are, I talked about sort of hesitancy in terms of government regulations, but all being well, we will have that opportunity to show our solidarity with the LGBTQ community in August, and just as much today. And I did feel that it was important to speak today. Many of you may have heard as well about the recent judgment, partial judgment, shall we say, in the Maya Forstater case. This is a employment tribunal case going back to 2019 when Maya did not have her contract renewed and was perceived to have interpreted this for having comments, particularly on Twitter, arguing that the comments were described as transphobic, and then claiming that this was her right to hold these beliefs. There was an initial tribunal which ruled against her back in November of 2019, and it went to appeal. And the appeal has, and this is one of the important things to understand. The appeal has essentially said that she is entitled to another tribunal that has, they have affirmed that the gender critical, to make sure that we are using their self-identifying terms, the gender critical beliefs that they hold, are sort of on par with religious beliefs, and thus protected by equality in employment law. This case was significant over the past few years. It was the sort of event that launched comments by people such as J.K. Rowling, and of course we heard from Stephen King, who provided his own rebuttal at the time, saying that trans women are women. The headlines are often sensational, and we miss that nuance. We miss the nuance all over in life. The nuance of biology, hint, it's complicated. The nuance of sociology, hint, it's complicated. All the while, of course, these cases tick on. So we have this affirmation that one has a right to belief. And I know this can all be sort of quite heavy and quite intense for us at times. So would we like to take a short break with a sort of fun story? So just the other day, I discovered an online group which is dedicated to one of my favorite childhood comic strips, Calvin and Hobbes, which, if you're unfamiliar with it, is about a boy who has a wide imagination, and he has a pet stuffed tiger, a toy, which is a toy to his parents, but to him is real. His imagination is that strong. The strip ran from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s, and with no doubt in my mind will likely be considered one of the greatest American comic strips. It was so instrumental, particularly to people in my generation who are now introducing it to their kids. And so there's this online group for people to share stories and share sort of comics that they enjoyed from the past. Someone shared a strip recently where Calvin, who's the 6-year-old, asks Hobbes, "Do you think our morality is defined by our actions or by what's in our hearts?" He's a very clever 6-year-old, even if his grades don't show it. And Hobbes replies, "I think our actions show. I think our actions show what's in our hearts." Not to get too religious, but Jesus reminds us that by the fruits shall you know them. And also that what matters more is not what one ingests, but what goes in, but rather what one proclaims, what comes out. One core tenet of our faith is the inherent worth and dignity of all people, acknowledging that our experience is limited, And so we afford respect to other people, not just beliefs, but their identities. I understand, for instance, myself to be attracted to women, and I identify as a man. But that is all that I can say on the matter. I do not know the inner workings of other people. I do not know whether challenges exist for them when they look in the mirror. I don't know who they fancy. So I trust them. I trust their experiences, and I trust they're relaying this to me. We can proceed with compassion and love in the world, supporting those whose lives encompass more than we know, and at times more than they can bear. So let's work to foster kindness and care in our hearts so that that may process through our hands, so that our actions show what's in our hearts. Wise words from Bill Watterson. Amen. I now invite Aaron to play an interlude with photographs from Laura and Adam. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Janet. You now have a chance to share your joys and your sorrows, your trials and your triumphs. If you want to share these publicly, please type them into the chat box and I will read them out. If you are here present, please light a candle and then come forward and speak into the microphone so those listening online are able to join in as well. And as always, if you wish to hold your joys and sorrows in your heart, know that your presence here is enough. This is for my son. I should go to the microphone. It's for my son Thomas, who had a difficult night last night.
whose birthday is into the sea. And trouble. Happy birthday, Andrea.
For all those joys and sorrows here spoken, and those that remain silently in our hearts. We return now to a time of prayer with these words of H.P. Rivers, who was, in their words, raised on love and coffee by the Westside UU Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. They are a Master of Divinity student at Star King School for the ministry and serve as Director of Religious Exploration at the UU Church of Tallahassee. Their hobbies include writing, keeping up with their wildly adventurous child, and trying to make the world a better place. Blessed are the wanderers seeking affirmation. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews, and hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving family and familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. Blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the queer disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. Amen. I know this may have been, certainly for myself, possibly for you, a challenging service. We have a moment of enjoyable frivolity in our meditation today. I hope you enjoy it. A few notices before we conclude our service. If you're in need of pastoral care, please write to me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. Write as well if you wish to participate in the service in some way or seek out volunteering opportunities. We're always grateful to have more hands on the wheel. Or, I know the adage about cooks in the kitchen, but we're happy for plenty of cooks. And if you've just joined us, you're welcome to join our mailing list, again by writing to me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. Our Zoom tea and coffee will be today at 1:30. The ID and passcode are online. 820-2135-7758 is the ID, and then the passcode is CSC. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll have a direct link to log in there. We are grateful as well for any donations that can assist the mission of our chapel. You're able to donate online at justgiving.com/Cross Street Chapel Manchester, or if you email me, I can provide you with the details about setting up a standing order. So we come now to our final hymn, which is from Peter Sampson. I forgot. Thank you to Aaron for the music. Thank you to Janet for the IT, Adam and Laura for the photos, and Catherine for the video. And thank you all for creating and sharing worship today. We close with the words of the Bosnian-Australian trans woman model, Andrea Pejčić. We're human beings, and this is a human life. This is reality for us, and all we ask for is acceptance and validation for what we say that we are. It's a basic human right. Amen.
confirmed.